For the newly indoctrinated, Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files follows the story of a professional wizard in Chicago. We've started our podcast as a way to help break down the series' most important moments, characters, and lore. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.
Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 8.20, A Deadly Dreamscape, where we are covering the novel Grave Peril. My name is Tansenn, and I am joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
Not to insult anyone out there, but I'm goddamn tired of Grave Peril.
We're almost through. We're so close.
I'm over your problems, Harry.
Well, pretty soon Harry will be over them too, so.
And he died at the end.
Yeah, now there's like 15 more books to get through. And 30 short stories.
Chapter 36. Dresden enters the dream world and faces off with Kravos. Kravos kills Harry in the dream, but is resuscitated in the real world by Susan, resulting in a ghost version of Harry. They overpower and defeat Kravos, allowing Harry to get his powers back. Dresden returns to the real world, and the trio begin to make their escape from the room, but are stopped by Kyle and Kelly. Dresden begins to sleep and have nightmares. First about the night of the fire with Victor Sells, and then next having monsters in the waiting. Kravos makes his appearance in the dream.
Yeah. And he starts out all nice and creepy right from the get-go. He's like, I watched them, and he's like, yeah, that's what monsters do. And he's like, they enjoyed it. If only I could have videotaped it for you. And he's like, yeah, TV will rot your brain, Kravos. And already that pisses him off, and he comes rushing at him or whatever. Jokes will not save you.
You don't know Harry.
Well, he keeps one-upping himself with making jokes every single time till finally Kravos just goes for the kill. He's like, fuck this. Yeah. You must die.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, Harry's really speedrunning this aggression, but I guess he's really on a time limit, He's only got a couple of hours to get himself to the hospital.
Right, exactly, yeah. He taunts him about the whole, cliche lines for villains or whatever. And I'm pretty sure Kravos makes some comment about, Bianca wants him, so Kravos is just gonna beat him up a little bit more and have some fun, right? But, yeah, Harry keeps just pushing the buttons and keeps just provoking him more and more for him to lose his shit, so...
Kravos specifically says, I want your last hours on Earth to be me torturing you in your nightmares. And then it takes, 30 seconds of back and forth with Harry. He's like, you know what? Fuck the torture. I'm gonna kill you right now.
Yeah. He's like, we're gonna have some fun until Bianca comes to finish you. And it's like, he's like, you think so? I'm not sure. It's our first date. Maybe we should go slow. And Kravos just, hits him again.
It's quite funny.
Funny, you're going to die. But yeah, Harry, I do like Harry's got a good comeback here though, where he's like, you can't treat this like a joke, and he's like, why not? He's like, I took you out with a piece of chalk and a Ken doll. It's like, you're the biggest joke I ever met. It's like, oh man. I'm like, yeah, that would probably kind of hurt, especially if you were kind of a crazy egomaniac like Kravos.
Especially.
Yeah, we don't know Kravos, but we're essentially going off the basis that he was more or less Victor Sells, so yeah, he can't handle being mocked.
A dick joke.
Yeah, no, he can't. It's like, how dare you not respect me and think of me as important at all times, and
well, again,
he's very Agent McCall. Teen Wolf reference. I know some of you in the Discord are considering to watch it now that I bring it up so often. I'd just like you to know that if you want to understand that reference better, you should watch Teen Wolf. Just saying.
But he's like, McCall, why?
Agent McCall. Just, wants to be important, and they suck, and they should be killed off soon.
Like the FBI in any cop show.
Agent McCall is in the FBI.
It's like the FBI are okay in FBI shows, but the FBI are not okay if you're in a cop show.
In everyone else's show, yeah.
Everyone else's show, basically. Yeah, exactly.
So Kravos begins to choke Dresden until he starts to have what seems like a near-death experience. And another Dresden appears, and Kravos is just gobsmacked.
It is so near death. It's like it actually happens.
And Kravos makes a realization that the second Dresden is his ghost.
Yeah, and he's like, what the fuck, you're cheating? And Dresden's like, fuck you, you made this possible, you dumbass.
technically, my ghost said, Harry actually died for a minute. Don't you remember how ghosts are made? Normally there wouldn't be enough latent energy to create an impression like me, but with him being a wizard, a real wizard, not a petty fake like you, and with the border to the Never Never in such a state of flux, it was pretty much inevitable.
That was very well said.
Very well said.
Is there an echo in here? It's like Harry and his ghost are both
now
talking.
brought to you in stereo.
They already can't tell our voices apart.
Right? So then the ghost's all like, well, I'm just glad this worked, it would be good for the solo. And he's like, well, you can thank Kravos. And he just kind of keeps going, and Kravos is just like, shut the fuck up.
Because if one Harry wasn't bad enough, now there's two to
Now he's got two of them to deal with.
Like, literally his
like,
worst nightmare.
I was a dick in life, but I wasn't this much of a dick in life. Like, come on. He's like, I'm dead, and I still
at least there
can't
was
catch
only
a break.
one of me. Although he had the nightmare, so it was even like there. But
Well, except the nightmare was always him all along. It never was the demon, which is why all his demon
I was a
tracking
little
never
confused about that, because he had some demon energy around him. At least I read at one point that it seemed like it said that.
well, maybe Harry was just misreading it, jumping to conclusions.
But yeah, no, I think that's the whole book. It's the whole point when Harry tries to call him the first time with Michael.
But isn't he?
And he gets nothing.
Azathragol?
No. That's why Harry keeps trying to summon Azathragol and got nothing until he focused on the barbed wire spell power.
Yeah.
And that led him to what he
Kravos
assumed
was just operating under Azathragol.
Yeah,
now.
and then he tried to exorcise Azathragol, and it didn't work until he finally
there,
was
I read
like,
it.
oh, it's... Yeah. Mhm. So yeah, the nightmare never was the demon. That's what he thought it was. Because again, up until a chapter ago, he thought Kravos was rotting in a jail cell because he never actually had a conversation with Susan. Susan was looking into things. She didn't want to spill the beans, so she didn't tell him that Kravos had offed himself. And Stallings was like, there's more shit going down with the IA that we can't talk about. And he didn't tell him that Kravos had offed himself in the city jail. So yes, Azathragol never existed at all. It was all Kravos.
Kravos attacks Dresden, but Ghost Dresden intervenes by holding him, and Dresden does this cool modification of his dream self, and he creates claws and a muzzle, and because this time he's prepared for Kravos in the dream and can manipulate it.
Yeah.
So Harry,
Now that he knows.
Harry's seen some shit. He's got a lot more nightmare material to draw on than Kravos, I think, ever did. Like...
Well, you just had that experience from Full Moon with the wolves.
Exactly, right? Like, be as much of a scary sorcerer sociopath as you want to be, Kravos, but you haven't lived through what Harry's lived through.
He knows firsthand what it's like to be a wolf.
Yeah, well, and also Kravos is all about inflicting pain and suffering on others, right? Harry's had it inflicted on him, so he knows right? Kravos is about scaring other people, not being scared. So Harry's been plenty scared, so he's got more to know as well that way, to be like, I know what's going to fucking terrify you. And plus that's kind of what he did to him, because he basically ate him as sort of the demon entity in that dream or whatever, right?
Chomp.
Right. But yeah, he kind of goes a little Wolverine, a little werewolf. But yeah, now that he knows what's going on, he can totally play. He's like, I know how to do this shit. I just didn't know this is what was happening last time.
Yeah, Dresden begins consuming Kravos, first retrieving his stolen magic, and then consuming Kravos's as well, just for fun. Just keeps going all the way. Nom nom nom.
And he doesn't waste a lot of time. He taunts him in the beginning to get him to that point of Kravos attacking and killing him to get his ghost self. But basically, yeah, once it's 2-on-1, he doesn't waste a lot of time. Basically, the ghost holds him down, and Harry just fucking rips into him and ends it. Right. I mean, I guess we've already said he's on a deadline or whatever, but dream time is always whatever. I'm sure he could have, but yeah, he's just enough is enough.
Maybe he was just really hungry.
Probably a little bit of both.
I'm famished. This tastes good.
Right. Well, and I'm sure, in a hurry to get his power back and all that too. But just chomp chomp and done. I ate him all up.
So Ghost Dresden starts to fade out as soon as that all ends, because he's completed what he had to do.
We're really speedrunning these goals now. Ghost, not a ghost.
We're good. Bye.
Yeah.
Thanks. It was a pleasure.
Yep. Do your avenging in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah. Well, and he kind of makes a point about what he's taking and stuff like that too, right? Because he's obviously didn't stop at just taking his own back. he's like, Kravos's magic had been for nothing but causing harm. He's like, I took it. I had plenty of harm to start causing, right? So he's like, I'm so done with all of these fuckers right now. So yeah, not only is he just taking back his power and then taking what Kravos has had, he's like, I don't care if it's like dark, dangerous, malicious power. He's like, that's what I want right now.
That's a good point. I fully missed that, but yeah, he gets Kravos's power and whoever else's power Kravos has stolen.
Oh,
That's all Harry's now.
Well, yeah, right? Like all those little
level
bits
up.
and
Boy got a pay grade, yeah.
right, little bits and bites out of like Murphy and Lydia
yeah.
and Malone and all those kinds of, which kind of makes you wonder, like, can he just sort of give that back? Because again, right, like that's basically what he's done. He's eating him up and taking his power back. So if he's taking little nightmare bites of those other people, is he essentially taking in sort of what he took? And how do you give that back to Murphy? Because he's not going to leave Murphy.
I don't think he gives it back to them. But part of it is like they don't have a same magical source, right? Whatever has been taken from them sucks to be you, but it doesn't affect you the same way it affected Harry. But also, like, you know, like, it, as we'll see in the books, like, you do heal from it. It's just a lot slower for the regular mortals, right? And so I don't think it's anything Harry can give back, but I think it will, you know, it affects them differently and, you know, more or less will heal from it, you know?
Well, and I always wonder if Kravos had like an ongoing connection with them, because as soon as he's defeated, it sort of releases them. Like they start waking up and starting feeling better and like this. I'm getting a little ahead from like the end of it.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, that could is also
going to address in a bit, but
I think though, or at least, I mean, I don't think, I would like to believe that, you know, when Kravos himself was also, you know, not just a ghost who could only operate through his revenge on Harry, that he was stealing magic from who knows where else, right? When he had more free will, right? And any of that would have become his own and is now Harry's, right? Like, essentially, you know.
Any power he might have stolen before he ran afoul of Harry and SI.
Oh, exactly, right? Like, essentially, like, you know,
beforehand?
like,
okay.
you know.
Yeah.
For what, like, let's say roughly 6 months of work Kravos got, 3 to 6 months of being on the scene, enough to, you know, make Harry and Michael and Murphy aware of him. So whatever he was doing in that time, he was gathering power, right? He was doing the whole orgy and whatnot. Victor Sells himself, right? So that was clearly to amass power to do whatever, right?
Yeah, just not necessarily cutting it out of someone the way he sort of did to Harry.
Yeah,
but.
So either way, though, he's collecting power from somewhere, and he had it all more or less now, and now it's Harry's. So,
and now it's Harry's, yeah.
Congrats, Harry. That kind of worked out for you.
Kinda.
Because, I never really thought about that before, but this is, like, his first real power-up, level up, like you said, Tansenn. Like, like, I never considered it before, but yeah, he does get, like, in a way that he didn't get from Stormfront or Full Moon.
Right.
Yeah, there he was more just learning new skills with what he had, or refining some of his skills. Here he's, like you say,
he got back his own power and then also went
and took it a chunk of someone else's that was not his to start with. But yeah.
So yeah, he's...
Yep.
So we're assuming that he gets to keep these powers.
Fully, yeah.
Which makes sense for, like, if you read on in the rest of the series.
Because I would assume, I mean, how else would a wizard get more power? I mean, sure, you kind of grow your own and you learn more shit and you push your own boundaries. But also at the same time, it's a little bit of that whole supernatural thing. The vampires feed on you, the wizards feed on you too. It's just, you know, you get your power in different ways. So, you know, not that Harry is doing the whole warlock, sorcerer.
Well, I was going to say, I don't really see Harry as, like, wizards feeding on.
No, but, like, with no spoilers, we see the deals and the people and the pacts and the power exchange that Harry will go through. And I think no matter which way, how about it goes, that's kind of one of the, you know, fast-tracking a wizard's level upping, you know? You look at the other wizards who are a couple 100 years old to Harry's 30 years. He's 25 right now, but, you know.
Yeah.
But my point is that this is his first real level up that we've actually seen. It's not just him, you know, learning.
We are agreeing with that.
So Dresden wakes up to Susan slapping him. Wake up.
Yeah, she's clearly given up on the CPR aspect of things.
His heart started again, so now it's like, come back to consciousness, you dumb fuck.
That's definitely part of CPR training. Once the beat comes back, get slapping.
Get slapping.
That's like baby being born logic. Like, once they're born, start slapping.
All right. But he does, when he's, anyways, his ghost finally slows him down when he's basically eating them all up. And you can tell already that Harry's like, oh, what the fuck? That was kind of not... Because the ghost's like, easy, you got him. And he's like, I got him. And he's like, he's a ghost. You don't have anything to regret. And he's like, easy for you to say, you don't have to live with it. So even after stealing, like, even after killing the bad guy and taking back what was his, Harry's still going to have, right, still struggling with some area of the morality on all of that. It's like, ugh, Harry, he was a bad guy. Just kill him and be happy. Let's move on.
He's not the good guy, though, if he doesn't mourn all the bad guys dying.
I know. That's the whole point, is that Harry has to feel the guilt so we can all be like, that's why Harry's awesome, and we can all, like, hold Harry up as our hero. Because it's like, we can all be like, yeah, that scum!
Not me. I can never be the hero. I know just from reading this shit.
Right? Well, exactly. So, yeah, so you just know he's going to carry something with him from that anyways, just because Harry always does. And then he gets the slapped out of him.
He confirms Kravos' fate to Susan. Lets him know that, yeah, he's done. He's gone.
Yeah. And she freaked out. She's like, Jesus Christ, when you stopped breathing, I nearly freaked out and lost it. She's like, so at least Harry had, like, told her. Like, thank God. She's like, thank God you warned me, because she's like, I don't know what I would have done.
Dresden is filled with a power high right now. Like, it's giving him enough energy to at least ignore his pain for the time being. Like, he's just...
Yeah,
like,
Susan notices that, right?
But
she goes to help him up, and...
At least he's not as high as he was when he was fighting in the last book in Full Moon, when where he throws himself out of the truck because he's high as fuck.
Oh.
Yeah, because he takes his energy potion or whatever, and then faces off against Parker.
Woo!
Yeah.
This seems like at least a more rational high. He's like, oh, I feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. Yeah, because Susan notices right away, because, you know, he's been pretty much beat to crap. She's been helping him. She goes to help him up, and he's all, like, bouncing to his feet, and he's fine, and... You know, more or less, like you say, he says he can still he still hurts, but none of it's, like, important or whatever. So he's like, now he's ready to make his move. It's like, let's get out of here. And she won't. Susan's like, I tried. She won't come out from behind the wash. And Harry just, like, doesn't have time. And he just, like, fucking snaps his fingers and blows her out from behind the wash. And Justine's like, what the fuck? I know the image, right? Susan's like, holy shit. Justine is like, holy shit. And Harry's like,
let's go. Let's fucking go.
Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah. Blow off the door.
Yeah, use another wind spell for that. Boom.
And then, like, as soon as you walk through, you got Kyle, still dressed in his masquerade ball. Like, I understand Susan, Justine, Harry, they don't get to choose their outfits right now. But Kyle, you've had 2 to 3 days to change.
He's like, this was just fun to wear. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I'm just really into it, you know?
Well, I don't know if it's been 2 to 3 days, but you're right. Probably at least...
Justine said it was 2 nights.
No. Justine said about 12 hours. They tortured him for a couple hours, and she figured he was passed out for about 10.
No.
But you're right. I forgot that Harry slept for
2 days because Harry had
he
already
passed
left
out for a day and a half.
At home. I just said, I forgot that he had recovered for like a day and a half.
Yeah, Justine's been down here for 2 days. Kyle's had 2 days to change his clothes.
Yes, Justine. I thought you were saying...
No!
Justine.
Listen to what I say.
Down. Anyways, yes. I had forgotten Harry's recovery time at home for a moment afterwards. So yes, he's had a couple days and he's still...
Kyle grabs Dresden by the throat and he's with his sister. They decide to take a drink from Harry regardless of the poison.
It seems especially stupid. Like, alright, you just would rather die? Yeah, like, it's pretty much implied that, like, Bianca's vampires who fed on him died. Because if it was just a mild headache, she'd have been like, alright, fine, like, feed on him, right?
They're not very smart.
Right? So it's like Kyle and Kelly are like, if as long as you die, we'll go too, or whatever. Like, I don't know.
They're like, fuck this shit, we're just gonna do it.
I didn't necessarily take that. I didn't think that they necessarily. I just figured they were getting, because they would start to feed and it made them sick. So she was like, don't know what's going on, just not. I don't know that I would guarantee anyone may died.
But she would have been willing to test it once 1 or 2 died. She's like, oh,
you think?
Fine. I don't think she was like, oh no, you have a headache? Maybe it's too much chocolate. Like, no.
Okay, fine, whatever. But regardless, I was going to say, if they were thinking it, like, Harry's, like, working it off or something like that, like, metabolism, but I'm like, that's still not really a good idea, because it was, like, a super poisonous thing that's just going to kill him,
so it's not, like,
going to get... Yeah, it's going to get worse, it's not going to get better, but... Whatever. We've already established that Kyle and Kelly aren't the sharpest Legos in the pack.
Thank you to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us do what we do. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at patreon.com/freeflowrambling. Chapter 37. Dresden, with the help of Susan, dispatches Kyle and Kelly. Harry finds Bob and his magical equipment, but quickly notices they've lost Susan. Dresden makes it out of the basement to confront Bianca and her henchmen.
So, again, we just spoke that Kyle and Kelly are not the sharpest of vampires in the ball. But, it's especially funny, because this is really, Mario just hit, the star and the level up and the big mushroom head. He's, about as good as he's gonna get at this moment. And Kyle and Kelly are like, let's go right now. It's like, you fools! You absolute ignoramus. Ignoramus? I don't know. I'm an ignoramus because I don't know what the word is.
Ignoramus.
Ignoramus. SMRT, SMRT. That is me.
Burn that diploma, baby.
What diploma? I guess I did. I guess, yeah. No, I did actually graduate from high school. That did actually happen.
SMRT! That's the only one Homer burns is his high school diploma. Oh my. Okay, so moving right along with the dumb vampires.
It's me, Kyle.
It's me, Kyle!
So, Dresden warns Kyle to let him go, and Kelly just goes off and starts to attack Dresden. But he uses a wind spell to knock her back into a wall across the room. Boom!
Yeah, boom, like a bag of sand, just poof. Yeah. So she doesn't look good after that. She's already got her meat suit poking holes in it and things like that. And she's already weird. I think when she comes in, doesn't she already look a little worse for wear? Or is it once he starts
She didn't
battering
have much
her
of a
around?
meat suit on. It was just Kyle that had the meat suit on. She just looked like shit is what she looked like.
Kelly's been she's not having a good book.
Since they encountered the that sunlight, I think, really did a number on her.
Yeah, the girl, get it together. Learn when to, go and lick your wounds.
Yeah, she's too busy trying to lick everyone else's. But yeah, so while he blows off Kelly or whatever, Kyle comes at him and gets a hand on him, and just as he's about to crunch him, he's like, Susan does the super cool interject and grab his fist hero move thing. And then, again, this is just part and parcel of once you get vampire powers, you just automatically learn super cool martial arts and fighting skills. It's inane to, seeking out and feeding off of, blood. You just automatically know how to kick the shit out of everything around you. So she does some kung fu to Kyle.
Susan. I was gonna say, Justin, Miyagi, Dresden, but no, we're talking about Susan, so never mind.
She might have had some self-defense courses. Or maybe, time slows down for her because she's got that sort of... She's so fast now that everything just
Quicksilver.
Yeah, Quicksilver, yeah.
So she's like, fuck it. I got this.
But if they're also vampires, they'd be able to do that too. Quicksilver versus Quicksilver wouldn't
good
really...
point.
Yeah.
That's true.
Really cool concept. Sorry, I instantly ruined it.
5 seconds, it was awesome.
5 seconds, it was really
super cool.
It was really cool.
I was going to say, we can give you a little bit on the defense, because Susan seems like the type that might, and especially after her date with a demon, I could see she definitely might have gone and taken a couple of courses. So she might have had a little bit, and then just gets to amplify it all with her superhuman strength and
I was going to say, if
agility
you're dating
and stuff
Dresden,
now.
you should take self-defense.
Probably should. Yeah. So it seems
wonder she's
reasonable
got a
that she
gun.
might have. Yeah, right.
But regardless, did you watch WandaVision?
Yeah.
And have you seen, the X-Men movies?
Yes.
So, and you've seen all the Avenger movies, right?
Most of them. Some of the more newer ones I haven't seen yet.
Okay, so for WandaVision, they recast Quicksilver from this guy they used in the movies, right? And they used the guy from the Wolverine, right?
I love that.
Right? And everyone was like, is this multiverse, or are they just having a laugh,
Fucking
right?
with us,
And
yeah.
everyone decided they're just having a laugh. But I don't really, I think that's more multiverse bullshit. I don't trust the MCU. Because they already are talking about bringing in Wolverine and Deadpool into Multiverse of Madness. This is all this isn't spoilers because the movie's not out yet at the time of this recording. I'm just going off of internet rumors, okay?
Yeah. Pure
But
speculation.
I don't think it's MCU just being ha 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 ha. I think MCU is you think we're ha ha ha, but really this is hint number 1, idiots. Right?
double cross so many times. There's so many trust issues. You don't know.
Totally.
Because maybe that particular he didn't actually become Quicksilver, didn't have the powers, but he became an actor instead. Because if there's multiverse, then there's more than one.
It's a good point.
That guy.
You're right. It's true. And like another aspect to it all is like we're supposed to like there's another rumor that like because Venom is a symbiote, it's a hive mind, which means that when Sony goes off to make their own Venom movies, it still exists in the Marvel universe anyways, even when because Sony's trying to create their own universe right now with Spider-Man.
Oh.
And the Morbius whole thing, because Sony owns Spider-Man, but they gave Marvel the rights to use him.
Okay.
So essentially, Marvel's, so far, they say like Spider-Man's done with Marvel, but Tom Holland is still going to continue with Sony making Spider-Man movies, so we're all just going to have to accept that it does not exist in the same universe, you know?
Interesting. Okay.
Right.
That's like, you know, we don't know how it's going to actually work out, but that's just like, you know, preliminary talks right now is
They
what we've
got
got to
some
go
big
off of.
shoes to fill. Like Sony, you're.
And so here's the thing about it, though, is that like if they go off and make their own Venom movies, and the Venom now exists in the Marvel universe, we're supposed to believe because of the hive mind, it's all connected to each other, no matter what, right? Even if they're in different universes, we all just have to deal with the fact that it's all in the same. Which is why, when we're going back to the fact that they're just slowly inching these X-Men into the Marvel universe, then I'm just like, which is why I can't trust them, the whole WandaVision thing. I'm like, you guys, it's a pretty, I like, if it really has absolutely nothing to do with it, I still think it's an amazing casting choice and hilarious.
Yeah, it's a really fun
But-
choice.
But at the same time, I don't know. Kevin Feige, I don't trust you, buddy. I don't trust you at all.
Never trust that a cigar is a cigar in this world.
Yeah.
A cigar is
So
just a cigar.
you know,
yeah.
besides that.
So Susan kicks Kyle's ass because she's got magical vampire powers, and Dresden just he does like another weird sort of fire spell thing.
Yeah,
but it's not his usual one.
Fire.
Different source, different fire, different.
Yeah, this one sort of encapsulates them in a fiery cocoon.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bad, malevolent fire spell.
Yeah, he specifically says, I used Kravos magic for that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, said a word he didn't know for a spell he didn't use, and yeah, so he's Kravos' thing, but it had come from him. So he's a little like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what happens when you take somebody else's bad mojo, then, okay.
Going back to your theory of him leveling up, and this is where just him saying that I used Kravos' magic made me kind of think that it might have been finite because of how he used it, like, and it was just different, and I don't think it comes back again, like him using.
I take it more as like, you know, like you've got like red Play-Doh and green Play-Doh, and you stack one on top of the other, and it's separate, right? And for a while you can still separate them, but eventually they're going to get so mushed together that it's all going to become one big mush.
What a great illusion. Thank
Right?
you.
So I take it like, yeah, like at the moment he can still separate the green and the red Play-Doh, but like the longer and longer he has it, like they're going to
just
blend
his.
together
It'll just
eventually.
sort of-
There's only so much that he can do to keep them separate, and eventually. So I think at the moment it's really easy to separate and compartmentalize, but he won't get rid of all the green Play-Doh right now, and he won't get rid of it forever.
You will be assimilated.
Well, essentially, exactly, yeah. Like, he's, like, you know, Dresden's red Play-Doh is the dominating force here, and it will eventually, like, envelop the green Play-Doh. He can try to fling out as much of it as he can, but he will, you know, regardless, always have that.
I can see it just becoming partially thing, like even just his own, like he said before. I mean, like he just threw out a wicked, nasty fire spell at the party because he was pissed and mad. He's like, "That's not me. Like I don't do destructive magic, but I did destructive
Clearly.
magic." So I think this, could just be the same thing. Like, he's high on that right now. He took it in. He's pissed. He's scared. He wants to save the girl. He wants to save himself. He's literally in the dragon's den or whatever, lion's den.
At this moment, has no idea what happened to Bob, Michael, or Thomas.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, he's just kind of going on instinct. So, yeah, he reached for it. It was there. But I think from this point out, like, exactly because he's aware of that, he can just sort of, he's going to, again, with just his own dark sides of him, he can take this and sort of pack it away a little bit. And, like, that power is there. Some of that
And almost
knowledge.
makes an excuse. He can blame it on Kravos right now, you know? That was definitely Kravos.
That's that. But, you know, like I say, I'm just going to assume as part of his sort of, like you say, assimilation of that power that he can choose sort of not to use the darker sides of it or whatever. But
But again, but only
the
for
raw
so long.
power of it can still make use of,
Eventually it will not be, you know, as easily separated.
Right. more gray area.
Yeah, that's my point, is that he stomps it down. So
Yeah.
Right.
Anywho.
So Dresden, Susan, and Justine continue through the basement, and they find several corpses of children and homeless people. And at this point, Dresden makes a vow that he is done with the Red Court, and he's not going to let them continue the way they've been continuing. Like, he is like, nope, fuck this, guys.
Yeah, I hate them.
They're done.
Yeah, I'm not going to let them keep this up. I've tried to stay out of their way before. I can't now. Not after what I've seen.
Well, this is almost like another one of those, like, you know, vows, like, you don't break your promise or you're gonna lose your power. It's like, he almost says as much right now, like, that's it. Like, yeah, like, now that I've seen this, like, that's too much. And even when Justine tries to be like, it's too strong, there's too many of them, he fully silences her and he just, like, commits to it. It's like, maybe he doesn't say in as many words in the narration, but he essentially, you know, does this like a vow like he made with Leah, only he's kind of just making it to the universe. He's like, that's it.
Yeah.
Red can't. Nah, not anymore. I know what's going on. That's it.
Yeah, before he was kind of willing to turn a blind eye, and as long as he didn't see it, not get too involved. That's just the way the supernatural world works. I can't save everybody all of the time, but yeah, now that he's been thrust
Seeing the
into
horror of
it, right up close, shoved in his face, now he's like, okay, I can't pretend anymore. I'm not going to pretend you guys don't exist if you stay out of your way. Like, I'm coming for you kind of a thing. So, fuck you guys. You should have just left well enough alone. But no, you had to keep poking the bear, and now the bear is coming to rip your head off. So, yeah. So notices a magical thrumming whatever. So after, they pass all the corpses. So, I mean, at least now he knows what happens to a lot of... He knows he didn't burn them all up in the courtyard, because that was part of what he was worried about, because Michael was like, well, they only found 11 bodies, and he's like, there was way more people. So now he knows that, yes, he did not kill the majority of them. The vampires dragged them all into the house, and they killed them. So,
Cool.
yay.
Great.
Right.
And, then he senses some other power down there and moves off and finds Bob.
Yay,
right
Bob.
there. And all of his stuff. All together, untouched, unguarded.
Yeah, I love
That's convenient. How did that happen?
that Bob. Let's on the may have influenced Bianca to believe the things would explode if tampered with. Like, good job, Bob. Clever thinking.
Right. Still has his back, even though, he's sort of captured. So he starts mocking him for wearing his little yellow ducky boxers, too, which Harry pulled out of the laundry pile and tried not to think too much about who was wearing them first and how they ended up there and why there's a lot. It's like, ew.
Do you know I almost named this episode Yellow Ducky Boxers?
Deadly Dreamscape, Yellow Ducky Boxers. Deadly Dreamscape.
Tough call.
Real close call there.
So he still doesn't have, his shirt and pants or whatever, but he gets at least his magical doodads.
His duster and his doodads and his skull.
Did he get his
Yeah.
duster? I didn't realize that. I thought he just got the staff.
Yeah, that's
On
what
the
I'm trying
shelves, shot my bracelet, blasting skull. Okay, maybe no duster.
His blasting skull.
Bracelet, blasting skull. Okay, fine, no duster.
So he's still walking around in the boxers. Just the boxers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't think he
Yeah,
had
fine,
his
fine,
coat
fine.
back. Okay, so yes, gets his stuff and gets going and hands the bag to Justine and says, "Don't drop this." And Bob immediately gets all pervy and Bob-like, and Harry smacks him on the way by. He's like, "Yeah, we don't have time for this." And they go, and then all of a sudden, there's no Susan.
Right.
And Justine immediately starts freaking out. She was right here. And she's like, oh my God, they got her. They're here. We can't hear them. We can't see them. They're here. They snatched her. And he's like, what the? Well, actually, I like this too. What's this wee stuff, Kimasabi? That's a Lone Ranger reference. But yeah, so Bob is all cut through the veil and stuff like that. So Bob says there's nobody hiding out.
Right. Dresden theorizes that Bianca must have controlled Susan to make her leave.
Yeah, because he's like, they would have just attacked us and killed us if they were here, right? So I don't think that's it at all. So yeah, and Justine's like, well, yeah, she did kind of do that earlier. So he's like, all right.
Yeah.
So off they go, and they head towards the stairs.
Dresden tells Justine to wait at the bottom of the stairs with Bob, and despite his fear and pain, makes his way up those steps.
Right, yeah. Bob does the, it's a trap, and he's like, yeah, but I gotta go anyways. But I mean, at least he knows. It's at least,
Thing was a trap. Come on.
This whole thing was I was gonna say, it's not like when he stumbled in from the Never Never. Like, he was hoping to sneak in then and didn't realize that they were waiting on the other side of the door for him. But here, he's fully aware that they're all up there waiting for him. So, yes, it's a trap, but,
He gives permission to
least-
Bob, though, to help Justine in whatever way he can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's good of him.
Yeah, and she does say thank you. She still really doesn't think, I don't think Justine has faith in this. I think she still figures they're going to die. But she's like, thanks for trying. You know? She's like, at least you came back for me, I guess. But
Dresden enters the upper floor and finds Bianca, with Susan kneeling next to her, a dozen vampires in waiting, and human security with assault weapons waiting for him. No pressure.
he's like, I did mention the machine guns, right? Here's all the dudes with machine guns.
Yeah. I thought that was neat that the security appears to be enchanted and to have a limited view of what's in the room. Like, that's very clever. Because they sure as shit would run away if they saw, like, black
Don't ask too many
vampire.
questions. Don't,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it's probably hard to get them to fire on a lone man in ducky boxers and a young girl. Like you
Well,
know.
the young girl's still down below, but yes,
You know, it's not
Yeah.
like, you know,
a little bit of mind fuckery there, just
this is a dangerous man.
Although, who knows, you know, I'm sure if they're mercenary enough, I'm sure there's plenty of guys she could hire to just shoot whoever she wanted
Fair
on.
enough.
I am
command,
impressed
but-
how much Bianca has really, like, increased in power. Because before, she was just, like, at the mercy of Dresden accidentally, really. He's like,
Yeah, she didn't have her own mini
Well,
militia.
again, and that was his defense, not offense.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
So now it's like, she's totally leveled, like, again.
Well, and I don't want to get too far into spoilers, but we'll see in the future. We get a short story about Marcone, right? And he talks about, like, what it's like to, like, you know, go toe-to-toe with Dresden. And yeah, it's the same thing. Like, these villains have a minute with Dresden, and they're like, oh, I gotta bulk up fast. Like, people are afraid of Dresden, right? Like, it's not really much of a spoiler. Like, you can see, like, Bianca has put in all of this to fight Dresden.
Yeah.
Like, her entire, like, this isn't to fight the White Court. This isn't to fight Faravax. This isn't to fight Marcone. This isn't to fight people we haven't met yet. Like, she did all of this
Dresden.
because of Dresden. Like, it's not even like, if it was just, like, you know, cut off and trafficking your mad, she could have, like, easily she had the money to hire anyone to go to his house and stab him or shoot him, you know? Like, but she thinks it
put out a hit.
required more than that, you know? She thinks it required all of this, right? Like, it became being, what did she got, what was her promotion exactly? Like,
Margravine.
Baroness.
yeah, Baroness. Like, and we'll meet other vampire barons and things like that too. Like, that's a big fucking job, you know? She's not manager of a 7-Eleven in Chicago. Like, this is like, this is, I mean, we don't know exactly what the reach is, but at the very least, you know, reach in America, if not farther, you know? Like, her position is not
Kind of
common.
a form of royalty
you know?
in a way.
It is, yeah. Like, she's been...
She's not a big fish in a little pond. She's in a decent-sized pond here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, it's literally, like, she's not just... She's Chicago-based, but she isn't just Queen of Chicago. Like, she is heavily moved up the rank of Red Court vampires.
And
like,
fast.
And fast, which is why... And again, all because of Harry. So, like, for someone to have gone to that means... And again, we're only talking 18 months here. If we were talking, like, 20 years later, then maybe, like, I could understand, like, okay, you built up a little, and at that point, why stop now? But at this point, you can't say, like, oh, like, at that point, I might as well have just kept moving. Like, no, like, clearly this is all just for Harry at this point. She hasn't had time to think about anything else and do anything else, right? So that's why it's, like, for the fact that someone can look at Harry and be like, this is what is required before I can send him an invitation to my ball, like... This, like, she sent the invitation to his ball. This is where she felt she needed to be for max power. It's not like Harry walked into her house and forced her hand. Like, this is where Bianca was like, I finally feel like I overpower you, and I want to start this shit, and sent the invitation. Like, she's the one who felt confident of being outclassing him,
This
you know?
is where she made her move. This is where she decided to take her stand.
Right? This is her level of power, though, that she felt comfortable to take out Harry, right? Like, you know?
He really scared the shit out of her.
Yeah, so just gives a view to all of us. Like, we see this bumbling idiot, and Thomas sees this bumbling idiot, but you've got to know, like, when you're on the other side of things, he's a scary fucking dude.
Yeah.
This is the crack team that foils my every move.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, and Bianca basically says as much right here, like, as he comes upstairs, right? And he starts smiling, and she's like, what's so amusing? And he's like, all of this for a guy with 2 sticks and a pair of yellow ducky boxer shorts? You must think I'm a real dangerous man. And she's like, as a matter of fact, I do. She's like, if I were you, I would consider it flattery. And yeah, because Harry really doesn't get it. And she's like, yeah, no, this is seriously how much shit I think I need. And as it turns out, it's not enough. So, yeah, Harry thinks she's being, like, way over dramatic. And it turns out she was actually really underestimating.
Right.
But, yeah,
Bianca commands the men with the guns to open fire.
Yeah, she says I'd consider, so... Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I just really want to, hammer that point home. Like, this isn't...
So did Bianca.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know what, though? Like... And we've said it before, like, this whole villain speech is stupid as shit, and you're wasting your time, and you're just fucking yourself over. Or, like, you give away the whole plan or whatever like that. But, yeah, okay, there's 17 more books. I guess it's not much of a spoiler to say Bianca clearly doesn't succeed here. We're gonna see very soon how Harry manages to make it out of this, and whether or not he manages to make anyone else out with it is a different story, but Harry himself always seems to, crawl his way out. Mm-hmm. And don't underestimate him. Essentially the Dresden Files, as you get to 17 books in, you see kind of who did and who didn't underestimate him, right? You see which villains have kept their distance and just been watching and waiting and letting the other villains die at his hand, and they just slowly sit back and learn and bide their time, right? Book after book after book is the guys who weren't willing to wait, and we keep getting look, we didn't have Marcone this book, but Harry said in Stormfront, he's like, I want to fucking take you out, Marcone. And now we're at grave peril, 3 books in, he still hasn't done it, right? Because Marcone is like, he stepped back, Marcone's like, actually, you know what? You are scary. I'm gonna go fuck off. And Bianca was like, I'm gonna take you right now. Which, to be fair, merits to both sides. Had Bianca been successful right now, and Harry even said at the bottom of the stairs, I'm not getting any stronger tonight. Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Bianca in 20 books, maybe she would have gotten more powerful, or maybe she would have never gotten up to Dresden. We don't know.
Right.
But, hard to say whether or not biding her time would have worked out for her or not.
Well, and I think if I were Bianca, I would be pretty confident for how much...
Well, yeah.
For all the tricks she pulls out that she's been able to do. It's just like... And so well planned.
And to be fair, as scared as you are of Dresden, she's the one with the money. She's the one with the power, the title. And now, to know for herself... You are a vampire.
To throw into the fray.
You've got magic. You've got allies. You've got baronessness or whatever.
She seems like she has all the cards.
Yeah,
really.
To be fair, if I was Bianca too, I'd be like, okay, you were scary, but you're a dumb little asshole in a basement apartment. Like, you're not, you're not that, you don't have as many resources as I do. I'd feel more confident.
That impressive.
Yeah. I'm scared of him as she was. I understand now why she did. Feel confident.
But I don't know. I get your point, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know the biding your time would, because everybody he faces at this point comes at a later point. So whether they're biding their time or have just come across him at that point, and yet 17 books later, we still have Harry Dresden. So obviously he just keeps one-upping them, no matter how much they wait, no matter how much they plan, and no matter how much power they amass first.
Well, I'm saying we're 17
Harry
books
obviously still keeps coming out on top. So.
But there's still 6 more books for him to fail, is what I mean. Like, just because they haven't taken the shot yet doesn't mean they won't,
Well,
I'm fully confident.
Fine, but you're just saying that if Bianca had waited, but...
I'm saying we don't know, but I feel like the series is going to end with Harry's death.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I don't think he's going to make it out of this. I don't think he can make it out of this, quite frankly. I love him, and we've still got,
I sincerely
at this point,
hope you're wrong,
15 books for us to, dissect
definitely
and prove myself wrong, but I just think that the way that it builds at this point is, like, how would you give Harry a happy ending at the end of all of this? Like, how does he walk away from it all? How does he just begin to cope with every choice he's had to make? The series is going to end at roughly book 23.
Fucks with time one more time and just goes back to the beginning with him and his loved ones.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Every time has ever been messed with in any kind of content whatsoever, it's always worked out. You're right.
That's right. Yeah. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Here's hoping.
And Butcher loves his characters and doesn't ever want to do anything to hurt them and wants to give them a happy ending, clearly.
Of course.
Yes, because we've seen that in action.
Yes, right, clearly.
But yeah, Bianca just, clearly, desperately underestimated, thought she had built up a whole big power, and even though she's like, I figure you're this dangerous, it's still just drops in a bucket.
All right.
Well, that's for next time. Right now,
bad call,
she's
girl.
shooting them with guns.
Yeah.
Fire.
This concludes our episode 8.20, A Deadly Dreamscape. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnally's.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.